Hello again. So this week the church celebrates the real presence of the body and blood, soul and divinity of Jesus Christ in the Eucharist, or known by its Latin shorthand, the Feast of Corpus Christi. Because today, with the Feast of Corpus Christi, we celebrate one of the great fundamentals about what makes us Catholic, the belief in the real presence. And I love this feast because of that, but also because this feast came about by the actions of two very different people, a bishop they had in common who became Pope Urban IV, and of course, Christ. In the early 1200s, St. Juliana, who was a religious sister from Belgium, had a series of visions in which she saw a bright full moon with a single blemish on it. And the Lord told her that the blemish was the omission from the church calendar of a feast to celebrate the true presence of Christ in the Eucharist. The vision was right in St. Juliana's wheelhouse, as she was already devoted to Christ in the Eucharist. She pleaded her case with the Bishop of Liège, the future Pope Urban IV, who instituted it on a local basis, as is the province of bishops. And then in 1263, Father Peter from Prague, who was in the middle-age version of Doubting Thomas, was making a pilgrimage to Rome. Father Peter was having great doubts about the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist, but what he lacked in faith, he had in the integrity of his office, because rather than simply throwing in the towel at his lack of belief, he was making a pilgrimage to Rome to pray and discern over the real presence. He was having a mass in the small village outside of the town of Orvieto in Italy when, after fracturing the host, blood began to seep from it, covering the altar cloth, corporal, and running onto the floor. The miracle was reported to Pope Urban IV, who was in residence in Orvieto at the time. The miracle was investigated, and the blood-stained corporal, altar cloth, and Eucharist is, to this day, kept in the Cathedral of Orvieto. And the liturgy for this feast day Mass was developed shortly thereafter. And what I love about this story is the interaction between the Apostle Thomas, who wouldn't believe in the resurrection of Christ until he put his hand into Jesus' side and the fingers in the nail holes, and Father Peter, who doubted his presence on the altar even as he celebrated Mass, is the love and patience that Christ showed these two men. They both had doubts, but Jesus came to them and took their doubts away, leaving us with the remnants of this miracle to help future generations of doubters, including ours. May we all feel that presence this weekend and every day that we are at Mass. God bless.